To be playing Sega Genesis with bros. Now I'm gaming with some folks on the other side the globe. Used to go through a label if you trying to blow. Now people got more.
3 Count Commentaries featuring your host MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about Impact Wrestling Sacrifice from March the 5th, 2022. The show was much better than I expected. Offered some real change and offered some real surprises that I wasn't, expecting. So I enjoyed that. But that main event, oh boy, I didn't make it through it. I swear. I saw the very end, but I didn't make it through it. But, alright, so let's go through it. The pre-show, Giselle, Shawn, Lady Frost, I didn't watch it. I was just getting off work, so I didn't see it. The OGK, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett were defeated by Willie Mack and Rich Swann. This match was very clunky. They blew like a couple of spots. You could see Taven, directing traffic sometimes. It was just pretty clunky. These teams didn't have that much in the way of chemistry. And, the finish was the Proton Pack, which is the finish of the OGK, was countered into a victory roll type of thing. And Rich Swann and Willie Mack win. Maria was on commentary being very, very annoying, talking about, what she said that they were Honor No More is fighting for themselves while Rich Mack and Willie Swann are fighting for a company. And it was like, okay. I mean, I like that dichotomy, but I don't like Maria. So, whatever. Alright, so the official open to the show had Jake Something lose a very close match to Trey Miguel. This was the best match of the night, as far as I was concerned. This match was very good. And it could only have been so much better if there was a story involved. Because there was no story really tied into it, we were in a position where it was just, guys having a really good match. Jake Something got to show off his power. Trey Miguel got to show off his experience and his resiliency. Didn't really care for the finish, though. The finish came with a Meteora off the top rope. But it was Jake Something was doing the sit-up. The old spot where, people, are in the corner and they're upside down in the tree of woe, and then they sit up and then they take this, the stomps or whatever to the knee, to the chest area. It was that, except he did the Meteora. And I was like, it's just such a ridiculous position to end up in. It's almost always ridiculous when guys use that double stomp finish and a guy is required to sit up in order to do it. They did a spot earlier in the match where he countered a powerbomb into the Meteora. That should have been the finish. That was a great finish. If you're going to use the Meteora as a finish, that should have been it. But Jake looked really good here. Trey looked great, obviously. Hopefully these guys will continue and they can actually have a real feud, because this was fun. Tasha Steelz cut a promo saying that Chelsea Green was the reason why the Knockouts title was still around the waist of Mickie James, and that she's going to beat every inch of her sorry ass to become the champion. Oddly enough, these two stories were linked together for the rest of the evening. Match 6, Deonna Purrazzo was challenged in the champ challenged by Chelsea Green for the Ring of Honor Women's World title. Chelsea Green was defeated, even though I think she injured her wrist in the match. Well, it might have been kayfabe. I think that they're just kind of playing off of the already existing injury that Chelsea Green had last year. But so they told the story of Deonna Purrazzo essentially just targeting that wrist, and she ended up, of course, submitting. So Deonna Purrazzo, after she won, she continued to hold the move, the wrist lock. This led Mickie James to come to the ring and chase Deonna Purrazzo off. And as she was tending to Chelsea in the ring, you got medics in the ring and Mickey's in the ring and Chelsea's screaming and crying and everything. Then Tasha Steelz just runs to the ring, basically like a Money in the Bank cash-in. She just kind of runs to the ring. And Tasha Steelz and Mickie James have their match immediately afterwards. So while they're wrestling in the ring, the medics are outside the ring with Chelsea Green. And Savannah Evans, the heavy for Tasha Steelz, is menacing Chelsea Green. And occasionally she's pushing like the security guys out of the way, and she's trying to get her hands on Chelsea. And then Mickie comes out of nowhere, and Mickey's trying to help Chelsea and wrestle this match. So she attacks Savannah Evans. She actually kicks Savannah Evans between the legs Like, she's a big girl, but I don't know if she's quite Giselle Shaw. Let's put it like that. So it was a solid match. Savannah Evans played a big role in Tasha Steelz actually winning the title. But the finish was actually very interesting. Mickie James jumped from the top rope. I don't know what she was trying to do. Maybe it was a splash. Maybe it was a clothesline or something. And basically, she got hit with a cutter, basically with an RKO from the top rope as she jumped from the top rope. And Tasha Steelz actually won the title. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. And to be quite honest, I didn't expect Mickie to lose at all until she lost it back to Deonna. So I was like, wow. Tasha being the champion is interesting. That's very interesting. I don't have an intense like or dislike of Tasha Steelz. She just kind of exists on the roster. This is a big opportunity for her. She got a pretty good quality win here. I don't think this is over. You know, maybe she'll just lose it back to Mickie. But who knows? I wasn't expecting Tasha to actually win the title tonight. So that was cool. It was a welcome surprise, you know, to give, you know, a younger talent an opportunity. And Tasha just hung in there, man. Like, it was weird, like, because Kiara Hogan left, because I don't think she ever thought she was going to become the champion. And Tasha Steelz just kind of hung in there and showed that, you know, hey, she's kind of doing the same thing she was doing when they were Fire and Flavor. But I think she kind of turned it up just a little bit. You know, she turned it up a little bit more. So I'm interested in seeing how she is as the champion now. So that ought to be fun. All right, the second match on the show was Rhino versus Eddie Edwards. This match, of course, I could not have cared less about this. This is the match that made me probably the most tired. I really did not care. But Eddie Edwards won. The two camps were outside the ring. Honor No More was on one side. Team Impact was on another side. They start to brawl outside the ring, and everybody's jumping into the pile. Everything, you know, next time, you know, Rich Swan's jumping into the pile. This existed to add some action to this match, because these two guys are not interesting. They're boring. In any event, things picked up when Steve Maclin ran to the ring. He kind of fought off a couple of Honor No More guys and was real fired up. Then he picked up the kendo stick and whacked Rhino with it. So Steve Maclin, then even after he hit a DDT on Eddie Edwards, he whacked Rhino with the kendo stick, proving that Maclin is only on one person's side, that is his own. Team Impact were kind of pissed at Maclin. The crowd chanted, "Fuck you, Maclin," as Maclin walked off, and Eddie Edwards lands the Boston Knee Party to win the match. Oh boy, oh god, this was painful. Later, Rhino is backstage. He's pretty upset, talking about how he wants to kill Maclin, and Heath is like, "I should have been there, man. We should have been there for each other, brother." And Rhino told him no, he needs to focus on becoming the world champion. And then Santino shows up, but it's not Santino, it's Anthony Corelli, his real name. And I'm telling you, he looked more stereotypically Italian here than he did in WWE. But I was just shocked. I couldn't tell it was him. He looked like a completely different person. The look was interesting. He looked like he's, you know, beard, hair. It took me a while to really kind of get under all of that clown suit and everything. Just be like, is that Santino? Like, without him talking without the gimmick, I was like, wow. Like, I've seen shooter interviews of Santino, which is how I kind of figured it out. But he looks like a completely different person. And like he got shoe polish in his beard and his hair and everything. But he was there to give Heath a pep talk about everybody who always looked down on him. Now it's their chance to show off and to show that he can do it. This would lead, of course, to the main event of Heath versus Moose, which I absolutely fell asleep. I fell asleep during the introductions. I figured Moose was going to win, and I didn't really put that much thought into it, but I didn't expect to fall asleep. So I'm not sure how we got here, because I know Anthony Corelli was on commentary, so maybe he interfered or he did something, you know, kind of turned heel at the end of the show, maybe. I'm just guessing. But all I do know is when I opened my eyes again, Josh Alexander was standing over Moose and saying that he's going to wrestle him at Rebellion and that the walking weapon is back. So apparently that whole thing where his visa had to get taken care of and him being a free agent, that was all either a work or it was pretty much cleared up pretty fast. So Josh Alexander is back to wrestle Moose. That's the proper thing to do. You know, it's only good and proper for him to get his title shot back. Making him wait about 4 months is fine, I guess. So that's actually more of a proper main event than Heath. It's like, who cares about that, really? What kind of world title would it be if Heath won it anyway, right? You know, like, really? Come on, man. Come on, man. So I didn't see the match itself because I had no interest in it anyway. But I do know that Moose won and that Josh Alexander came out afterwards to challenge him for the title. All right, so this takes us back to the third match on the show, the Influence versus the Inspiration. So Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood told Caleb with the K to stay backstage because he's a distraction and they don't really need him anymore. And they can't trust him because he's been buddying up to the Inspiration recently. So they've been telling this story where sort of the Influence have been kind of kicking around Caleb, and the Inspiration have been giving him all this false praise and flirting with him and everything. So in the match, you have Caleb come to the ring, you know, even though he was told not to. And it seems like he was trying to toss the belt to Cassie, or was it Jesse, one of them, of the Inspiration. Instead, Tennille Dashwood got it, and she hit whichever one of them it was supposed to be. And Tennille pins the member of the Inspiration that was in the ring, and they win. So the Influence are now the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and another surprise. And I was like, whoa, I didn't expect, like, they've been champions for a little while now, the Inspiration, and but this is like their only real feud outside of the feud where they won the titles. They also don't have like a really deep, well, I guess it's their second feud because they have feuded with Decay too. So it's like the second or third after they won the titles. They don't have a deep division in terms of women's division and Impact anyway. So this was okay. You know, Tennille finally does something. Maybe she'll actually stick around for a while and not go on her vacations where she, you know, maybe this will add to her vacation. She's now got something to show off, you know. You know, she's a good-looking girl and all, but you know, she ain't got much to show off. So maybe this will help. She can throw a Knockouts Tag Team title into the picture. All right, Brian Myers was cutting a promo on Morrissey for no apparent reason because neither one of them are booked to be on this show. And Morrissey came out there to beat up the security guards, powerbombed them through tables and all kinds of stuff, and Brian Myers escaped. I don't know who said that anybody was interested in Brian Myers and W. Morrissey. I don't know whose idea that was, but let me assure you, good sir or lady, nobody cares about this. I promise you, if Brian Myers was evaporated from the planet Earth, nobody would go looking. Probably not even his kids. The fourth match, Jonah defeated PCO. This match was ridiculous. It was very hard-hitting. And it just showed that the story that they were telling was that PCO can take tremendous amounts of damage. Like, he got tombstone power drivered on some steps. He also got power bombed off the steps onto the floor. I'm like, God damn, dog. Like, this guy is 60. He's like 60, like 58 or something. The finish came with the tsunami from the top rope, so Jonah wins. It was a match that I wasn't looking forward to, that they actually got me into due to the hard-hitting nature of it. They really played into the monster versus monster aspect of it. So that worked out. You know, this was a pleasant surprise. The next match was Jay White versus Alex Shelley. They had been telling the story that, well, they told the story. It's not like it's been built up on TV at all. That Jay White is the protege of Alex Shelley from his days in New Japan. And Jay White says, I knew this day would come, that one day they would face one another. And that is fitting that they would meet in Alex Shelley's hometown of Impact. But that Shelley has no idea what he's become, and he's going to show him in Still My Era. So Jay White defeats Alex Shelley in a pretty good match. This match felt unnecessarily long. Maybe because it was probably going to be, they expected it to be the best worked match on the show, and it probably was. But with the lack of story and the lack of build up, made it probably the best athletic match. It's just good athletics. In the end, it didn't really mean much to me. I didn't have that emotional investment into this match. And I'm not such a super fan of Jay White that I'm willing to just watch him wrestle long matches against anybody. So while I enjoyed it for what it was, it to me wasn't the best match on the show, because I can't take into account emotional investment. And I like both guys. And while I like both guys in this match, I just didn't feel like it was, all the way there. It felt thrown together. And it had zero build up on TV, like none, not even a little bit, as opposed to Trey McGill and Jake something, which at least had some build up on TV through them, and there was a plan for the match, meaning that in the match we were going to see whether Jake something could earn Trey McGill's respect or make him fear him, which he didn't do. He kind of failed at that. Here, it was all about respect. I'm not who I used to be. And after the match, Alex Shelley offered a handshake to Jay White, which Jay White, of course, denied. He's a heel. Of course, he's going to deny it. But I just didn't feel like, I thought, I just kind of shrugged. Like, I don't really care. So the last thing is Violent by Design versus the Good Brothers. Another match I really didn't care about, mainly because I really don't care about any of the people involved. Before the match, Eric Young cut a promo, says that snakes were let in to scare off the wolves, or something to that effect. And now the wolves are gone and the snakes are still here, and that the Good Brothers made a mistake looking past them to wrestling the Briscoes, which I guess is happening at some type of WrestleCon. I think that's where the Briscoes are wrestling the Good Brothers. In any event, that they made the mistake of overlooking Violent by Design, and they shouldn't have done that. And that is this all fate, or is it all by design? So Violent by Design win the tag team championships from the Good Brothers. Eric Young power drives Gallows on the ramp. That's led them to the opening space of isolating Carl Anderson. They did a powerbomb neckbreaker on him to win the match. The Violent by Design members that won were Eric Young and Joe Doring, which I kind of figured they would win if they with that pairing of the two. I was very surprised at this, because I thought they maybe want the titles for the Good Brothers GOD program. So it's kind of like, what is Violent by Design going to do with the titles? You really had something. This is the first time I looked at something and said to myself, hey, there was probably more storytelling devices to be done with the Good Brothers, because they were going to be wrestling GOD, and it would have made sense for them to just beat Violent by Design and get them out of the way. Because, what's their plan? What's their plot? What's their path forward? Outside of wrestling the Good Brothers, what are they going to do? And I like that they told the story that the Good Brothers won the titles from Violent by Design, and they lost them back to them. So I thought that was nice. But other than that, I didn't really see anything special about this. Didn't really care about this. So, but I'm interested in seeing where, at least GOD fits into this whole thing. So we'll find out, I guess, at some point. So the show was fine. Offered some surprises. Not a complete waste of two and a half hours. But, if you like Impact, you should have liked this show. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy